And unfortunately this dump truck doesn't dump fully, so we're gonna be working on that today. Basically the way this is set up, the hydraulic system, it's a tankless system, so the hydraulic cylinder and the hoses in it, that's all there is to it. That's what holds all the fluid for the entire system. It saves a little bit of space, a little bit of cost when they build the dump truck and the dump body on it. The problem is it's extremely difficult to fill up. The only fill thing is like in the very top of the cylinder, and it leaks, so it's not all full of fluid. That's why the dump body only goes like halfway up, I hope. And it's just not the most easy to maintain thing ever in the world. So we're going to be working on this today. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to build a hydraulic reservoir tank, which is going to bolt to the frame rails on this truck. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to put a tank that's going to mount to some of these random unused bolt holes in the frame. It's going to go right about here. And this thing down here, this is the hydraulic pump. It's PTO driven off the truck's transmission. This is what actually, you know, pumps the hydraulic fluid into the cylinder and raises up the bed. And so the way this is going to work, there's a low pressure and a high pressure side of this pump. Obviously the high pressure side needs to continue to go straight up until the cylinder. The low pressure side, instead of running straight from the drain on the cylinder, the drain on the cylinder is going to run into one side of the tank, and then there's going to be a hose on the other side of the tank which goes into the low pressure suction side of this thing. And so that way, the advantage of this is someday if we need to change out the fluid or add some fluid, instead of having to like climb all the way up under here in a really dangerous area, all we have to do is unscrew the cap on this thing and pour in a little bit more fluid. So it's going to save some major time down the road. It's a much more reliable system in my opinion. And yeah, so let's see here. It's going to be a smaller tank. We'll probably only build it so it's about 16 by like 8 or so. Yeah, 16 by 8 by 8. I think that'll look pretty good down here. Only has to hold a few gallons of fluid at most, and let's get to it. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a metal cutting circular saw job if I've ever seen such a thing. So one lesson I've learned the hard way on projects like this is it's actually fairly important that you only mark things like this out one piece at a time, because if I laid out the 4 main rectangles I need to build this, just one after another, and then started cutting, there's a chance that, you know, if one cuts off by like a 32nd of an inch, and then you figure in the thickness of the cut and everything, by the time you get to the last one, you're off by like an 1/8 of an inch or more, and that really wouldn't be fun to weld up. So on some things, I've learned it's really worth the few extra moments it takes. Mark out the pieces individually. Alright, great. Now let me run out here real fast and make sure this is going to work. I don't know if you can see all these huge splits on this hose up here. This thing has seen better days. There's so much like caked on grease and stuff on top of this hose. It's really, really hard to even get a bite at it with this wrench. You can see the things interlock. Definitely 3/4 inch hose. Although I think the new one's actually a little wider, so I'm kind of happy to see that. So we've now run both of the new hydraulic lines and everything went, well, it went. That was probably one of the most rage-inducing and just all-around miserable tasks I've done in memory. Completely sucked. You know, with some jobs there's a, oh well, you know, this part of it sucks but that part of it doesn't. There is no that part of it doesn't when it comes to running hydraulic lines. That's what I learned. We gotta open up this 5-gallon thing of hydraulic juice. Oh, that is the weirdest consistency thing ever. Alright, so now we just pull the breather cap off our shiny brass pipe. Stick one end in. So it begins. I need to have kids so I can pawn this job off on them. Let's play a fun game called Pump the Hydraulic Oil. Okay buddy, you have fun. I'm gonna go eat a sandwich now. Had an uncle who used to do that to me. Pumped so much diesel fuel. Ah, it's leaking! Ah! That's pretty cool. Window hasn't been cleaned in as long as I've been alive though. I'm very happy to have a dump truck that actually dumps now. This is one thing I've always wanted ever since I was a little kid, and it works. Before, like I said, you really had to rev up the engine. It took forever to raise. It would only go up about this high or maybe this high or so, and now like at idle it'll raise the thing quickly all the way up until it stops and goes all the way back down, and everything is great with this thing mechanically. It took a lot of work to get it to this point. We changed tires, new exhaust, new carburetor, full tune-up, changed pretty much all the fluids. I actually still have to swap out the antifreeze, and it's ready to go. So now what we have to do is make it actually street legal. We got to make a few more of these lights work, replace a couple lights on the front, and paint the thing. Look, you know, small thing. So really happy with how this turned out. Really happy that it works now, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, everybody.